Salutations everybody, it's Maddie here and we're talking about Star Wars.
And speaking of Star Wars, we got a little guest here. It's Revan. Oh my god.
Thank you, Revan, for joining me on my very messy bed. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this past weekend, you may or may not have known, but Star Wars Squadrons, it landed right in our laps. And honestly, if you didn't know that, I wouldn't blame you. There's been like zero buzz for the game on social media, on YouTube, just across the board. I've seen very little discussion on the title outside of a couple of developers and Star Wars enthusiasts. Now, I was really looking forward to the game because of the VR support, putting this sucker on my face and being like, oh my God, bro, I'm in a TIE fighter. It is something dreams are made of. So I was really looking forward to this game. I know a lot of people were sharing that same excitement when it came to VR. We're gonna be talking about that and why overall EA's actually made a good Star Wars game. Now, I've been on the internet for a while. I know people are gonna try to contradict me and be like, well, Maddie, Battlefront 2, Jedi Fallen Order, let's talk about it, man. There have been some good Star Wars games, but in my opinion, I'm talking about at launch. Battlefront 1 was not that great. Battlefront 2 is amazing now, but it took multiple years to get to that point. And Jedi Fallen Order, well, let's be honest, Respawn made it very clear that EA was not remotely involved in that title whatsoever, and I think that's why it turned out really good. So, in my opinion, Star Wars Squadrons is like the first true EA Star Wars game to come out at launch, be pretty solid, and also it's not coded in monetization. That was something that the developers, EA Motive, were very transparent about ahead of launch. They said, we're not doing post-launch support with maps, we're not doing any live service mechanics, no paid cosmetics, none of that, just you buy the game and it's yours. And this is what we really wanted with the Star Wars license, I feel personally. While Squadrons may not be up everyone's alley, I think it is a good step in the right direction for EA as a company with the Star Wars brand to do little experiments like these. This is not a full price tag, right? It's not a full $60 game. It is a $40 game, and it puts you right into the TIE Fighter cockpit or an A-Wing or whatever different Starfighter you want to be in. And that's just the true goal of the game, is to engage in these crazy dogfights. And we got to talk about the VR support, man. That is what really makes the game, okay? Putting yourself in that cockpit and shooting down a TIE fighter and blowing through the debris that you had just created as the flames engulf your ship. And there's just so many emergent moments in those missions that blow your mind as a Star Wars fan, right? And that takes a little bit of love in the franchise to truly appreciate, I would say. But it goes a little bit further than that. It's the removal of the HUD on screen, which also, by the way, let's say you're playing on PC, fret not, there's very little HUD in the first place. But once again, having this sucker on your face, like looking around your cockpit and seeing that, okay, the power is currently diverted to my lasers. I'm gonna go ahead and switch now to the engine so that I can speed around and do quicker turns and evade this missile that's attacking me. There's just so many fine-tuned mechanics in controlling your ship, and the way that you battle in space, it feels great. But once again, it is truly enhanced with VR, and in a lot of ways, I think the game was built around that very idea. It's very immersive, it's very enjoyable, it makes it a lot more fun. But fret not, I know that VR is a platform that not a lot of people have bought into. I understand that, I know it's expensive. Plus, with the way Oculus is going, who knows how much this bad boy is gonna get used after like a week from now. But I'm enjoying it while it's here. Still though, I did play Star Wars Squadrons for a large chunk of time off the VR, right? To see how it just plays as a game where I think most people would be enjoying it. The way it was structured actually reminded me a lot of this game here, Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. Now, this game's story takes place between Star Wars episodes 1 and 2, and even on the back here, you can actually see it says it gives you a sneak peek at Star Wars episode 2, which God bless, man, my God. I think that's the worst Star Wars movie ever, so imagine getting a sneak peek at garbage. Still though, Star Wars Squadrons is created in the same vein as this game, I personally believe. You have a story that focuses on multiple missions based in the Star Wars lore. In the case of Star Wars Squadrons, it's between episodes 6 and 7, as the Empire is bouncing back from having the second Death Star destroyed, how they're recovering, getting back on their feet, where exactly they are going from there, how the Rebel Alliance is transforming the Republic. So there's a little bit of interesting storytelling there, but for the most part, it's relatively soulless, it's dry. It's not super interesting. Personally, I kind of expected that. I would never fathom great storytelling happening through like the comms of a Jedi Starfighter. but at the same time, I feel it could have been better. There are little character interactions that you could have in between missions before you get briefed. And so it does bring you sort of in on the ground level of things you've seen in the movies as they're all standing in a circle, going through the preparations of the mission. There's something really cool about that. Once again, especially in VR, but then you can talk to some of your members of your squad, get to know them a little bit better. But then it starts to feel a little lifeless even there because your character doesn't talk whatsoever.
The New Republic will fall, just like the last one. It's time for you to play your part. Get to the hangar. Ready your ship.
And you can only kind of look around and click to where you want to go. So it's kind of like a point and click adventure game as you interact with people. And even when other characters walk towards you, your camera is like so stable. It's like you're this motionless android. It's really kind of jarring. I feel like the only way you can truly understand that is when you're holding the controller, really watching it unfold. Like even showing the gameplay on screen, I feel like it doesn't do a good job of really selling exactly what I'm describing. But if you put your hands on it, you know what I mean. It just feels a little off, like they're talking to a camera, clear as day. It's something I've kind of critiqued with Far Cry. You can tell like there is a cameraman sitting right there that they are talking to, rather than trying to make it feel like they're talking to the player, like your character in the universe. So yeah, while the story isn't good, it's a very Star Wars story. Like it starts off with another Empire betrayal going over to the Rebel Alliance. Geez, where did we see that story before? My God, man. Like this is once again why I said thank God for Jedi Fallen Order. That is a great game, and it's because it didn't go down the same tropes that we've seen time in, time out. So it was nice and refreshing. So that really does put a spotlight on the gameplay and why I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, in VR in particular, you're still going to be holding your controller no matter what. The VR is more like a camera mode, so to say. Some people were disappointed with that. For me, I was fine with it because it gave me that feeling like I was actually controlling like with a joystick from the cockpit. This game is compatible with joysticks like the Thrustmaster, for example. However, the issue is controller mapping. I have not personally experienced that myself, but I've seen a lot of people have had issues with it through reviews on Steam, Metacritic. A lot of folks are very frustrated because it takes a lot of time to remap everything to make this game work with the thrust stick. But when it does work, it works really well. Same thing when it comes to VR. But for me, I was fine using the controller and looking around with my headset. It felt very good. Even if you're just playing with the controller, looking at the screen, it feels good. A lot of it's based off fine touches. For example, if you press up on the left thumbstick, you're gonna throttle, you're gonna go forward as fast as you can. You can click on the left stick to boost. You can lower your throttle by pressing down on the left stick, and that'll allow you to slow down and make sharper turns, which is, let's say an enemy shoots a missile at you, that'll allow you to avoid it a little bit easier. So listening to little sounds as your engine goes like vroom, 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 and kind of changing gears almost, you can audibly hear that, and that's how you can get a feel for how sharp of a turn you can make. So there are these fine details built into the movement itself, and that's not even accounting for the multiple ship types. So let's say you're in an A-wing, this thing is fast, it's speedy, it's almost like an SMG with wings, man. You are zipping around, you're getting close to the starfighters out there, and you're taking them down like that. But it takes good aim, you have to be a good flyer because you want to get in really close, and then you have to lead your shot. So there's a lot of skill attached to it. Or say you're in a standard ship, like a TIE fighter, which controls average, it has average health. It's like your standard jack of all trades ship that does a little bit of everything. And that doesn't even account for also the customization. So then you can go in, change the type of lasers you're using, maybe better for close range or long range or just an average distance. You can change your shields, you can change like say, switch from missiles to a repair kit, so on and so forth. Change out your engine for different types of acceleration and maneuverability. There's so much little fine tuning within the gameplay itself that I feel like everyone out there could start to customize the ship and the ship types to their desires and get really good with each of them. And it feels good. Like this is the first time I've hopped into multiplayer in a while, performed well, and I was like, this feels great. There is a level of skill demanded from the player. That is why it feels good. It's not something you can just leap into. You have to feel it out for a decent amount of time and start to learn how to adapt, control your ship. You can't turn on a dime, for instance, and certain ships, as I mentioned earlier, turn differently. The ship controls, the HUD, it all turns into a very immersive, skill-driven experience and I enjoyed that, such as leading your shots when it comes to lasers. This is something that in multiplayer, especially when you have more skilled flyers out there compared to the AI in the story mode or the arcade mode, you're going to be challenged even more. And that makes it all the more satisfying when you're hopping into those matches and actually destroying people. Now, as you complete these multiplayer matches, you'll level up, you'll earn requisition packs, which you can spend on new parts in your ship. You'll also earn glory, which you can spend on cosmetics, from new pilot heads to outfits to different designs within your ship, like a galaxy map that'll be a hologram, or a little charm that's going to be hanging down, like little cute things like that. And once again, none of this is monetized, so overall it's just a nice, simple package that really focuses on the dogfights in space. It's highly immersive, it's very enjoyable as a game, but it really depends on if you've got VR, I think this is an easy buy. I think that the setup works extremely well. But if you are just playing it as a standard game, I do think it's a bit of a tougher sell, because you can look at the likes of Battlefront 2 and say, why wouldn't I just want to go ahead and enjoy space battles on top of the gunplay and the running around the maps and all that stuff? And you know, some of the mission design was a little off-putting for me. For example, in that Jedi Starfighter game I mentioned, sometimes you'd have missions that brought you still in your ship, but you were closer to some type of battlefield or something like that, and you were closer to the planet. A lot of the missions in Squadrons really just put you in outer space way above a planet, and it looks beautiful, but still I feel like there could have been a little more mission variety, a little more changing up here. And so I do hope that they continue to experiment with the Star Wars license and do these little kind of shot in the dark games and see how they do, because I thought Squadrons was a fun, unique example of kind of just a little section of what made Star Wars cool growing up. Like I just showed you guys, Jedi Starfighter, there was Rogue Squadron on like GameCube. There were all these great Starfighter games, so to see one for the current generation of consoles, I thought was really neat. That's just my 2 cents though. I think this game's sort of middle of the road for a lot of people. I think it's a hidden gem. I really like it, especially for its price tag. I think it's fair. I like how it's not monetized, and the gameplay is just very enjoyable. It is enhanced by VR, and that is going to be different for everyone. So that's just my 2 cents on this game. Want to share it with you guys. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Have you played Star Wars Squadrons? Let me know. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to kill it with the support. Appreciate each and every single one of you, as well as the members who are also now pushing the limits of this channel. You guys mean so much to me. Thank you for believing in me, and I'll talk with you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.